I had good whiskers, so I mean, we all know that Mayweather is not known for a big punch. It stings, it stings, yes. I would have to say they're about the same.
About the same?
Yeah, because it's funny because I didn't feel Pacquiao's punch. It didn't do anything to me. Maybe it's because Pacquiao was coming up in weight, and I believe that was his first fight at welterweight. So I didn't really feel his punch, With him, it was more of the accumulation of, But I would think they're about the same. They punch the same. That Pacquiao has the ability to really maybe knock you out, but he's got to land that perfect punch. And Pacquiao's more of a, he doesn't have that good timing like Mayweather. Boom.
It's more accumulation.
Yeah, it's more accumulation. So I would have to say they're about the same. Who times you? He'll throw one fast shot. Boom. Mayweather's not a guy who will throw a combination. He's not that type of fighter. A 3-4 punch combination. He's not that type of fighter. Pacquiao is. He'll throw 4, 5, 6, 7 punches and fast. I would have to go today. I would have to go with. I think both guys might be the same. Yeah, but now you tell me a few years ago, like 4 or 5 years ago, I would have to go with Pacquiao. So I mean, both guys have slowed down a bit, but they're still pretty quick. But I'll give it I think it's even. Yeah.
Oscar, who would you say is faster, Manny Pacquiao or Amir Khan?
Wow, nice. Nice. I would have to say Amir Khan. Yeah. At this stage of their careers, Amir Khan. By far, probably. Amir Khan's 28 years old, I believe, and I believe he's just hitting his peak right now as a fighter. And he just moved up to welterweight, so he's kind of like settling down, and now we're gonna see him. This Saturday, he's gonna look impressive. But then again, he's fighting another fast fighter in Devin. So one thing about Amir that separates him from Devin, or that is different, is that both guys are fast, but Amir Khan has fast footwork, and that can be the difference on Saturday night.
Oscar, I got a question. So you're seeing for the last 4 or 5 years that the best haven't necessarily been fighting the best. And if you go through the history of boxing, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, everyone fought the best. You fought everyone in your era. Some people have mentioned that it started with Roy Jones Jr. picking his opponents, and it kind of led to some of the things we're seeing now. In your opinion, when did that start, in your eyes, seeing that the best were stopping fighting the best and it became more about business?
Well, this is the truth of the matter. I mean, this is what we've been seeing ever since I retired. It's been more about business than the actual fight. And we must go back to the roots of what boxing is, of what fighting is. Because the business will come. If you have a great fight and you put on a good performance, and the business will come. That's a no-brainer, So it's like, every era has had fighters where you fight the very best, and you have great, exciting fights. It's not too late because obviously Pacquiao and Mayweather are still fighting. So hopefully it'll happen. I'm a fan of the sport, so I'm crossing my fingers it does happen.
What could you say about Thurman and Wilder? We've heard it's going to be January 17th here. Is there any closer to being official?
Well, I believe we're getting close.
It's almost a month away.
I believe we're getting close, but we're definitely looking forward to promoting that event with Don King.
Oscar, to go back to your other question, the fact that it hasn't happened, is that, in your opinion, a reason for this trend in the decline in pay-per-view?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. People are now fed up and they're tired and they're they're frustrated. You know, if it's not Manny Pacquiao or Mayweather that's not going to fight, then we're not going to buy pay-per-view.
I mean, even this roundtable started with the question about Pacquiao.
Absolutely. I mean, that's the fight that must happen for the sake of the sport. I don't care who wins. I just want to see it happen because it'll be a great fight, and it'll attract more fans, and
And
it'll help.
if it doesn't happen, what happens?
It'll be a huge disappointment for the fans, you know. And then boxing will continue. Boxing will live. Boxing will, most likely reinvent itself at some point. But one thing about me is that I'm not worried about what everybody else is doing. I'm worried about what we are doing at Golden Boy Promotions, and so that's the reason why I made an alliance with Top Rank. I'm working with Don King. I'm working with DeBell. I'm working with all these promoters because that's the way it was in the past. In order to make the best fights happen, because I can't have all my fighters. I can't promote all these fighters and then fight each other, and I can't. It's just not possible. So I have to go and talk to Don King. I have to go and talk to Bob Arum and say, hey, he might have a guy that we're going to match together and make an exciting fight. So that's just the way it works. That's the way it's been forever.
But it affects you, doesn't it, though? Because obviously the winner of this fight would love to fight Floyd, but it's not going to happen straight away if he fights Manny next year, does it?
Well, I mean, look, if obviously if the Manny fight happens, then great. Then we move on to Plan B for Amir if he wins on Saturday night. And that Plan B, I mean, just thinking on top of my head is maybe Cal Brook at Wembley Stadium. You fill up 100,000 people. That would be a great event. So there's options. You just have to be creative, and it's like I said. I mean, if Mayweather Pacquiao doesn't happen, the show must go on.
Do you think
Oscar, are you getting any indication from Mayweather about what he wants to do?
I have no idea. I have no idea whatsoever.
Oscar, Canelo is really adamant about fighting on that exact date.
Yeah.
Bob Arum said that would be a bad business move to have two big cards, obviously, on the same day. What do you think about that? Will Canelo try to take that date, even if we do get Mayweather Pacquiao?
Well, I mean, obviously, if Mayweather Pacquiao happens, then it would be my obligation to go and talk to Canelo and kind of maybe convince him to move out of that date. But I mean, he's going May 5th. Canelo's going May 5th. I mean, this kid is determined. He wants to fight Cinco de Mayo. So,
is there enough money in the pot to put the two fights on the same show?
No. That would be impossible. That would be. I mean, you can get creative and do maybe a split site somehow, which we've done before, where Canelo can generate his own gate. But let me tell you one thing about Canelo. Canelo's not going to be second fiddle to nobody. Canelo's a main event fighter. Period. That's it.
I think, Oscar, going into on the business side, the cable operators and the distributors, they would never allow two pay-per-views of that magnitude to go on the same day. They would side with one show or the other if it came down to it. The last time we spoke, I know you were working towards a resolution with the legal situation going on with Richard Schaefer, and I know you said it was moving.
Still am.
It was moving along, and then it hit like a couple of roadblocks. You said a couple of things happened behind the scenes. Has anything moved towards a resolution, or does it look like it's just going to keep going into next year?
At this point, it doesn't look good. So we'll just have to see what happens.
How easy has it been dealing with after all of that, everything that's going on with Al Heyman and his fighters, or getting he's signing so many guys, getting his fighters to fight non-Al Heyman fighters?
As a promoter, it's my obligation to look out for the fighters that I have signed to Golden Boy. That's my job. That's my obligation, and that's what I'm going to do. It's been a little difficult, but he's coming around. He's understanding that the fans fed up. Fans are tired. They want to see, you know, and he's signing all the fighters, and eventually they have to fight each other. Why not now? So
as Al Haymon, has he declined any offers that you guys put on the table for any fights in the future?
No, he's been very open lately. So I'm pretty optimistic on you know, with 2015. I think we're gonna see some really good fights. You know, so yeah, it's gonna be pretty interesting because he's coming around.
Does it affect your decision making over which guy you're going to showcase on which network based on some of the guys that Heyman has are actually signed to your company and some are not signed to the company?
Well, I mean, look, it's all it all can be a bit confusing, you know, and frustrating. You know, I'm not used to working like this, but I know how to adapt. You know, I'm gonna do what's best for the fighter, and the beauty about us at Golden Boys is that we have now opened the door to work with Showtime, and we've now opened the door to work with HBO. So we have options, you know, and so.
Well, that greatly benefits you since it appears that HBO is still a little standoffish with working with out fighters. I've noticed most of the guys from your company that they're bringing on to showcase, there are guys that are non-Heyman fighters that are contractually bound to Golden Boy Promotions.
Well, I mean, yes, and you said it. I mean, they're a little hesitant in working with Al, but you know, they've opened the door for Golden Boy.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's a matter of kind of massaging it a bit, you know, and so there's ways.
How did it feel being on stage with Bob yesterday? It's like your first public show of affection with each other.
We've done fights before. In the past. You know, so it's great. It's great. It was a breath of fresh air because he's on the same page as well in making the best matchups, you know, for the sport. So we're on the same page, and that's only going to benefit the fans.
When you extended the olive branch, did he accept it straight away, or was it a
straight away? I'll tell you a funny story. So I tell my assistant, you know, I want to talk to Bob. This is when I first made contact with him, and this was like the first time that I'm ever going to talk to him in years. I want to talk to Bob. Give me his number. So I call him directly to the Golden Boy, the Top Rank office. Hi, is Mr. Arum there? And it's the receptionist, I think. He's in the meeting. Can I take a message? And I go, yes. Can you tell him that Oscar De La Hoya? And I heard this like the phone must have fouled, you know, or something. So then puts me on hold. And then, I guess another reception answered. I don't know. Who is this? This is Oscar De La Hoya. And the phone falls again. Like, oh, okay. And then they put me on hold again, and they passed me over to Dina DeBuff. You know, Dina was my publicist when I was with Top Rank. She knows me better than anybody at Top Rank. And she's like, Oscar? Is that you, Oscar? Is somebody playing a prank? And finally I got to Bob Arum. Hey, Oscar, how you doing? So it took like 4 people, you know, to get to Bob Arum. I mean, I'm glad it happened, you know, sooner than later. I mean, because, you know, I mean, I respect Bob for what he's done. And, you know, maybe a lot of people won't agree with me, but, you know, he's done some great fights over the past years, and you know, so the fact that we're working together, it's just good for the sport. That's it.
Where did you meet when you first met with him? After breaking the ice?
I met at his home. I went to his house.
Was it awkward at all? Or was it okay?
No, like nothing. Yeah, just walked in there. We started talking about old times, and that's it. Yeah.
Hey, Oscar, Keith Thurman, he said he really wants to fight Tim Bradley. He said he wants to be
the guy.
He said he wants to be the first one to knock him out. What are the chances of us getting that type of fight?
chances are good. Chances are good. Look, Keith Thurman is, man, one guy that I love what he said. I believe it was some interview. I don't know what it was, but he said, "Look, I don't fight for the prize. I fight for the pride." I love that, because here you have a guy who is just old school. He just wants to fight the toughest, the best, and that's what boxing should be. You know, the prize will come. So when you fight the best, the prize will come. But the fact that he's vocal about it, the fact that he's, hey, this is what I want. I love it. It's great. You know, there's a guy that, man, if I had a promotional contract with him, I would take him places that he's never seen before. You know, this guy can be a superstar in boxing. You know, so he should be fighting Bradley. He should be fighting Mayweather and all these top guys. This is a star in the making.
Paulie Malignaggi just told me that Keith Thurman beats both Pacquiao and Mayweather right now.
I believe it, and Paulie Malignaggi is probably one of the most knowledgeable people in the game today. You know, he knows his boxing, he knows styles. So when Paulie says it, I believe it. You know, he's young, he's strong, he's quick. Keith Thurman, so that'll make it a bit difficult to even try and make those types of fights.
Yeah, he could become the next Golovkin, couldn't he?
Well, I hope not. I hope not.
If Canelo does fight Cotto, what does Canelo need to do to win that?
What does he need to do? Just be Canelo, I guess. I don't know. I mean, first of all, we look. With Canelo Cotto, our side is done. Our side is done. We want the fight. Canelo wants the fight. So it's now up to Cotto. It's now up to Todd DeBuff and Gabby, his lawyer, and hopefully we can make that fight happen.
What do you think they're questioning right now? If Canelo's already agreed to all of his terms?
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, Cotto is Cotto, who obviously you have to respect. He's a guy who will fight anybody. He's not that I'm. He's right at his peak. Right now of his career. Just coming off a great win with Martinez. This fight here, if it gets made, is second to Pacquiao and Mayweather. Is the best fight that the fans can watch, and that can attract the casual fan. It can attract women also, with Canelo and Cotto, Puerto Rico, Mexico. I mean, it has the ingredients to be a huge fight. So,
is there a neutral site that for this fight?
A neutral site?
Vegas.
Vegas. But
isn't Vegas really Canelo?
I think both guys understand that. Look, just whatever makes sense. I mean, I think this event belongs in a huge arena with 100,000 people. You can go Dallas, you can go San Antonio. Maybe I'll talk to Bob and he'll finally build that 50,000 outdoor arena. Who knows? That's talent just being
what is your
lost in the
understanding
shuffle,
of is he still under contract with the Goosen Trust or something? How long does that go? What is your understanding?
I don't know. I don't know the understanding of his contract situation, but he's you can't get that time back, especially as a fighter.
He's got to fight.
He's got to fight, and it's a shame. It's a shame.
Oscar, touching back on Cotto Canelo, you said that Canelo and you guys already accepted their part of the contract. So was a site not included in that part of the contract, or there's already a site included?
No. Look, when I say that our site is done, look, we've agreed to whatever terms were talked about.
Was site talked about then?
Site was talked about.
Yeah. Did they have a preference?
The reality is, the reality is, obviously, and you can make the argument. I mean, yeah, Las Vegas is probably Canelo's territory, and Texas, and if you go to New York, well, it's Cotto, but the fact of the matter is that wherever we can stage the biggest event, that's it. That's the bottom line.
Mm-hmm.
So the great thing is that both guys don't really. It's not priority. It doesn't really matter where the fight is staged. They just want to fight.
Because it seems from reports that it does matter to Cotto, that he wants it in Madison Square Garden in New York. And there's a big old thing made on his part about that.
Well, I mean, look, it's part of the negotiation. So
That's be tough for Canelo as a non-American fighter. That's more taxes he would have to pay versus fighting in Nevada or Texas.
Well, those are issues too. So I mean, look, there's a lot of detail that we have to iron out. But I really feel very confident that this fight can be made.
But being that you're kind of in a kind of delicate position, being Canelo is your fighter under contract, so obviously you have to do what's best for him. But you've promoted Mayweather's fights for a number of years, and it's going to obviously, probably alienate him a little bit if you kind of push him off that date. Do you still plan on working with him for future fights, or
working with who?
With Mayweather, to like you did on his last several fights?
Well, we're a promoter. I mean, look, I don't have the best relationship with Mayweather, but my company has promoted his last 10 fights, I believe.
In years.
The reason why is because we do a great job. We have a great team. We have the best team in the business. That's the bottom line. So, hey, I'm a promoter. So whoever wants to work with me, I'm more than happy to open up the doors.
Oscar, why do you think there's always been kind of that relationship with you and Floyd has never been always good? Why do you think there's always been a little bit of trouble there?
I don't know. I don't know why all these few fighters have always not liked me. I don't know. I never. What did Vargas say that I didn't pick him up when he fell?
He said he fell when he was jogging and you ran by, jogging too, and you laughed at him and kept going.
I never did that to Floyd. I don't know.
You still don't remember that about Vargas? You don't remember that?
I don't. But I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I have no idea.
What do you think of Mikey Garcia? How talented is he?
Very talented, and hopefully he can fight soon. I would love to. I mean, if the opportunity would present itself, I would love to work with him. You can do a lot of things with him. He's a great fighter, speaks both Spanish and English, and carries himself very well. Great story behind him. So.
Oscar, do you get any sense from Pacquiao that he wants Floyd as well? Do you get any feelings from their camp what they're thinking?
I've had that sense for years. Pacquiao will fight anybody. Pacquiao will fight anybody. He's a fighter. He's a guy who I truly feel just wants to fight the best. That's it.
Oscar, you said you hope Keith Thurman is not the next Golovkin, so I have to ask you, who do you think is better out of the two, Thurman or Golovkin?
Thurman.
Okay.
Is better? Yeah, Thurman.
Okay.
Oh, absolutely. Thurman is. See, one thing about Golovkin, he's tough. He's a strong fighter. When Canelo was sparring with him up in Big Bear, Canelo mentioned, look, he's strong. He's very strong. That's a lot of fighters are strong. And there's ways of beating strong fighters. But one thing about Keith Thurman is that he knows how to move. He lateral, uses combinations. He thinks in the ring. He's like, Golovkin is a fighter who has to beat you with his power. He has to. He can't beat you with moving side to side or going back. See, one thing about Golovkin is that I learned because I've studied him is that if he moves back, he can't fight. He can't fight. He can't. If he moves back, but try and move him back. Good luck. You know.
Oscar, there's a lot of positives to working, with both cable networks, with HBO and with Showtime. But on the other hand, is there also was like a fallback because you got to keep...
I'm sorry. What was it? Go ahead.
Like, there's a lot of positives to working with both networks, HBO and Showtime, because you get more dates, you could put guys here, guys there, but there's also some fallbacks to that because it's hard to keep two networks completely happy at all times. Like, there's some friction that's boiled over with Showtime into the social networks. They were a little mad. You took, Hopkins over there for a fight, and Saddam Ali went over there for a fight. Is it difficult to keep everyone happy at the same time?
Well, it's difficult, but look, I mean, my motto is that just you work with everybody, and I believe that there's enough enough pie to go around, and everybody wins. I mean, a little competition is very healthy, especially for the fighter, we have fighters with we promote fighters with HBO, we promote fighters with Showtime. There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. It's actually very healthy for the sport.
This is going to be Amir told me this is his last fight contractually with Showtime, and I asked him, if he's going to stay with Showtime or is he going to leave the door open. He said that, you and his team would handle that. Is he looking to stay with Showtime, or is he potentially just going to explore his options and see how it works out?
Well, I'm sure. We're going to do what's best for Amir Khan's career. If that means staying with Showtime, then we stay with Showtime. If it means exploring the options over at HBO, then I must do what's right for his career. We'll see after this fight.
Oscar, your group and generation, all those great fights that you guys had, nobody worried about losing. And we've got Mayweather seemingly obsessed with this unbeaten record. And it seems to become a crime almost to lose a fight. What's happened with that, and what's your thoughts on that?
Well, that's where I'm a bit confused. It's like it's there's no shame in losing. The very best have lost. The very best. And when I talk about the very best, I'm thinking about Muhammad Ali. I'm thinking about Sugar Ray Robinson and Julio Cesar Chavez. Like those types, everybody loses. And when everybody loses, you see great fights. You see action-packed fights. You see excitement. You see, worrying about a record doesn't do good to anybody.
Couldn't you argue,
including the person himself?
Well, because it doesn't do good, including the person himself, because you're going to be taken care of. You're going to do whatever possible you can to protect that record. And what happens then? You take no risk, or you pick and choose, or so. That's why I say, boxing must go back to the root of the sport, and that's taking risks, fighting the very best, and there's no shame in losing.
You all wanted to do that, didn't you? It was a matter of pride that you fought them. The other guys in your division at that time.
Yeah, well, I never look. If I did lose, then I fought against a great fighter. I lost against somebody that deserved to beat me, and I understood that it's okay.
Yeah.
As long as I fought, as long as I gave it my all.
Is that part of the yardstick, Oscar, in boxing? To really be great, you have to prove how you deal with the adversity of defeat.
Well, look, what I've learned over a period of time recently is that I've made a lot of decisions in my life based on fear, and fear has dictated my life for a while. If you can find a way to overcome that and make yourself believe that, if I take this chance, I don't have to be scared. I don't have to run away from fear. What if I embrace it? It's like, I'm afraid to lose. I'm afraid to lose that 0. Go ahead and embrace it. It's okay. Face it, you know?
Oscar, if Floyd Mayweather fights Manny Pacquiao, will people still say he's worried about his record?
No. Fighting Manny Pacquiao will just erase any doubt that anybody might have about Floyd. Fighting Manny Pacquiao. Everybody wants to see Manny Pacquiao, you know? I mean, if everybody thinks that Manny Pacquiao can beat Floyd, you know, great. I mean, it's one of those fights where anybody can win, you know? I mean, who will I give the edge to right now, today? I would have to go with Floyd. 3 years ago, hands down, it would have been Manny Pacquiao. But now, you know, I would go with Floyd. So, you know, it's like if he fights Pacquiao, then Floyd, I mean, will erase all doubts that anybody might have.
So you believe Manny's aged in the ring quicker than Floyd Mayweather?
Yes, absolutely. Why? Because he's been in wars. But who has the more respect? Which is going to live on forever. That's Manny Pacquiao. You know, there's no doubt about that. I mean, Manny Pacquiao, they're going to say, wow, he fought all these guys. He fought tough battles. He gave a, you know. So now it's a matter of, okay, what, you know, it's a matter of now of what matters most, you know.
But Oscar, you hold the record for pay-per-view. You're right up there. What's the secret of getting those high numbers?
What's the secret? Well, I mean, look, the pay-per-view audience is a total, I mean, different animal than you know, than the audience that's watching a fight on regular HBO or Showtime. You know, I mean, to ask a fan to pay money for a fight, it's not easy. What helped and what catapulted, like a Pacquiao or a Mayweather, a Mosley, who else beat me? Hopkins. See, you need that star fighter, okay, and you have to beat that star fighter in order for you to, you know, transition into that pay-per-view audience. So, you know, I mean, yeah, you know what? I'm gonna pat myself on the back a little bit, and I fought all these guys. They beat me, so now they're pay-per-view guys. You know, I mean, you need that name, that marquee fighter, that is an established pay-per-view guy. You have to beat that guy, and then not now necessarily. It doesn't happen all the time, because if you beat Tiger Woods, you don't become Tiger Woods. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. He's been so smart in handling and knowing how to, you know, how to work it, the system. You know, he's a smart guy. You know, and you have to give it up to him, I guess.
Oscar, how big of a void is Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather going to leave in boxing? Do you see anybody that can fill that void, or is it going to be a period where, you know, boxing is going to suffer a little bit?
Well, you have. It's like when Mike Tyson fought, and you know, before Mike Tyson, I think it was what, Leonard, Hearns, all those guys, Muhammad Ali. You know, there's always a void. But it doesn't last forever. There's always some other guy who's going to be coming along and filling that void. And the great thing is that we've already filled that void. We already have the guy, and that's Canelo Alvarez. So Canelo's going to be the guy for the next 10 years.
Does it put that much more pressure on the Cotto fight for him to win that fight, to kind of validate him and move him to that?
Well, it's an important fight to make. First of all, for Canelo, for Cotto, because it's a big fight. It's a major fight, and he'll generate and he'll win a lot of money for himself for Cotto. For Canelo, it's an important fight because yes, it's a marquee name, and most importantly for the fans, it'll be a great fight because of their styles. I mean, I can literally see a trilogy happening between them, you know, because of their styles. So,
Oscar, touching on the pay-per-view part, and I don't know much about this aspect. Some of you may or may not, but fans are saying if a Mayweather Pacquiao fight happens, that pay-per-view is gonna be like $100. What's driving the prices of these pay-per-views? What's the biggest accounting factor for that?
Well, I mean, I don't know if it's going to be $100, but I mean, inflation has a little something to do with it, you know.
How big of a part is that in more of the companies involved or the cable companies?
Well, I mean, look, it's the promoter sets the price.
Okay.
But the demand is so high. I've heard people telling me, look, I'll pay $300 for this fight. You know, I mean, the demand is so high that, I mean, people are willing to pay whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, but, I mean, obviously it would never get that high. I don't think the industry or, you know, would ever allow it to happen. It's just, it would be too much money for the consumer to spend. I mean, it's a lot of money.
Is there any chance we might see them go down? Because I know, as an industry, combat sports as a whole, all pay-per-view revenue is down. The UFC's down, all boxing's down, and we saw the Algieri Pacquiao fight, which in HD was like $70, and fans were like, "That's crazy. We're not going to pay $70 for that." So we gonna, for certain fights, I could see, yeah, you know, it's worth the price. But for others, are we going to see maybe a little bit of cuts on those prices?
Well, I mean, it depends. It depends. You know, we feel that if you have a major fight, let's say like Canelo Cotto, yes, we're not gonna price the event so high that the consumer is gonna think twice of buying it. You know, there has to be a balance. There has to be a balance, and wherever the market's at, wherever, you know, the demand would be high. You know, we have to also think about you know, the consumer. You know, make sure that you don't price it too high, because the consumer is the hardworking, you know, person who's maybe you know, I mean, $100 is a lot of money. You know, $50, $60, $70, that's a lot of money. So
$70, yeah.
You know, I mean, we have to take that into consideration. So, you know, yeah, there's a balance.
Oscar, should Olympic-style drug testing be mandatory in the sport of boxing?
Could be. I mean, I believe that's up to the commissions, you know.
I mean, your opinion, though, if you were the commission, would you implement it?
Well, look, I mean, every sport is evolving with these super athletes, you know. I mean, you can make the argument that the training is different and the athlete is becoming stronger and faster and this, but there's been a lot of cases where athletes have been caught, you know, taking, I guess, illegal supplements that has enhanced their abilities, you know. Boxing is a sport that, you know, it's not baseball where you hit a ball and, you know, you're hitting somebody's head, you know. And yeah, boxing should have, you know, tougher testing, you know, a more rigorous testing in place. That's my opinion.
Oscar, if you could come back for one fight, of all the guys you mentioned that you lost to, who would you want to rematch with?
I think Trinidad. Yeah, Trinidad. Yeah, let's end with that one, man. See, now you ruined my day.
What round did you stop him?
Huh?
What round?
You know what? I could have knocked him out in the 10th round. Yeah, I got myself in a little boxing, you know. But I thought boxing was okay today, no? Back then, if you boxed a little, man, boo you out of the ring.
Thank you.
Thanks,